I can see it right there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First up, we have our agenda to approve. We have a motion to approve our agenda. I have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All that opposed, the motion carries. First up, our 23-24 calendar adjustment. Dr. Frazier.
All right. Good evening, board members. I would like to make the recommendation that we adjust our school calendar as we have not had any snow days or weather days. I would make the recommendation to the board that we amend the calendar to give students and staff March 29th, which is the Friday before spring break off, so that will be a student and staff holiday. We did survey staff at the request of one of our board members, and that data came back as 92.4% of our staff were in favor of using that day as a student staff holiday. So that would be my recommendation.
All right. Any questions? Not a motion to approve the calendar adjustment to have Friday before spring break as a holiday.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. All right. Next up, we have our budget public comment period. Is there any citizens of this board wishing to comment on our proposed budget?
Molly Booker, 2740 Woodbridge Street. I came with a lot of notes, and I realized some of the documents aren't as fulfilling as I hoped they would be. My biggest concern with the proposed budget is the lack of improvements to the facilities. As the town continues to add in homes and more students, we're starting to max out where the kids are going. I mean, everybody, I think, in this room has probably at least witnessed our weight room is kind of lacking. Our sports facilities need a little bit of improvement, and our tuition student rate is going down. According to the numbers that are on the website, it's at the lowest percentage it's been in the past 10 years. But at the same time, we have more homes that are coming in. So it doesn't look like the town budget is increasing to give to the schools, other than the proposal of teacher increases in salaries, or just kind of based on that. So I'm hoping that the town can kind of help figure out a way to work with the school and improving that, facility for the kids. This is where we want them to be. This is where most of the town, people come to West Point to be with the schools, and we're kind of running out of room here, guys, if we want to keep building homes. So that's my only request, is I don't see where the town's kind of working with the school and increasing the budget that needs to come for operations. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Booker. Anyone else wishing to comment on the budget?
we've got scheduled till 5:30 for public comments, so we will sit tight. If anyone does come in who wishes to comment on the budget, we'll do that. If not, we will wait for town council to open their session at 5:30.
I feel like those newscaster or sportscaster people. They jump up and start singing so fast, and all your life. like the same hour back.
No, I'm a high school teacher. I know not to lean back in my chair. Yep. I'm sure if we were.
No, I need it. I'm trying to play my little game. Wordle. I mean, it's Worldle. Huh? Is that right? Yes. Worldle. Yeah. It's a real app, but it says that I have to go here.
All right, welcome back. We have 5:30. There's no more public comment for the budget. I will turn Mr. Lawson to convene the town council.
We'll reconvene the town council meeting.
All right, thank you. Delegations, any delegations, Mr. Weech?
No, sir.
Thank you. All right, well, we're all here for presentation of the Westmoreland Public School budget for 24-25 school year. Dr. Frazier, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, school board members, town council members, Mr. Edwards, and community members. I want to thank everyone for coming, and I will begin our budget presentation. So always, we want to start with our mission and our vision for our schools. And fortunately, I've been able to share this with the school board and with the town council. Just as a reminder, our mission here at West Point is to engage all students in robust preparation for a life of continuous learning as productive citizens. And in that vision, we are always creating a bridge to opportunity that empowers each student to maximize their potential, to achieve academically, grow personally, and to contribute positively to their communities. And we all know that their community is not just the community here in West Point, but even when our students graduate and they go to other places, we want them to be able to contribute positively to whatever community they reside and where they work. And so we have done a lot of work, and we have shared our strategic plan with our community. We've done a lot of work on our strategic plan, and so we thought that it was essential to include our goals that come directly from our strategic plan and the strategies that align with our budget. And so those are the five strategies that align with our budget. And so we want to make sure that this process includes stakeholders. We have gone through this budget process with our different advisory groups. We've looked at our CIP, and we shared this with our school board members to help us truly have a collaborative process as we develop our budget for tonight. And so every year, I always share what the responsibility is, and what my responsibility is as a division superintendent, and the responsibility of the school board. And that responsibility is to make sure that a budget is in place, so all of the needs of our students can be met here in our school district. And so, in West Point, we have our capital improvement budget. And with our capital improvement budget, we receive $105,000 each year from town council, from the town. We also then have our operational budget, and that operational budget consists of the following categories: instruction, operations and maintenance, admin, attendance and health, pupil transportation, school food service, and debt service. And what are the other components? What are the key components that make up our budget? So we always look at our composite index, and that is a number that is re-benchmarked every 2 years, and that says how much the town can put towards a budget for and put towards our budget, and how much the town can put towards in funding for our local school division. We also look at our ADM, and so that ADM for FY24, so that would have been last school year, our ADM came in at 784. We always know that our ADM and our enrollment are two different numbers. Our ADM is that average daily membership. Our enrollment may sometimes be a little higher, but the state has a calculation which they use to collect that ADM, and so we will never be able to break that magic calculation, but we always know that we do not budget to our full enrollment, that we always want to look at several years of our ADM average. We also know that for this current school year, our basic aid we receive from the state, $7,132 per student. Currently, in tuition, we receive $1.2 million in tuition revenue, so that includes basic aid, and that also includes the tuition funds that we receive. And we know that our local funding for our budget is 35% of our budget, and that state funding is 58%. And so, what are some of the highlights from our current budget? Some of the highlights from FY24. With funds from the state and with local funds, we were able to make sure that our staff received a 7% increase over this fiscal year. We also were able to provide a local match for an SRO, for our SROs and for an SSO. Our employees were also able to be held harmless of an increase of insurance costs. And we also had a significant amount of rollover that we've been able to use towards the added items. When we focus on capital highlights, we were able to replace the roof on the elementary school, and that cost a little over $1 million. We were also, thanks to the town, we were also able to renovate both libraries in our buildings, and that cost $260,000. So what are other enhancements that we've been able to do over this year with our current funds? We were able to provide weapon detection in our middle school, in our middle school, high school, and our elementary school. And with those weapon detection systems, we were also able to provide a safety team. And so that safety team are our gentlemen and our ladies that work each and every day as individuals that scan folks into the building, and they run those weapon detections. They're also doing that for special events like our school board meeting today. We've also been able to participate in the all-in tutoring, which was a mandate by the DOE and the state, and we have used some of those funds to provide an instructional coach to help our teachers and to look at the needs of our students that are in that all-in program. We have increased our preschool enrollment. We have partnered with the Donovan Group for communications, and some of those communication efforts that you see with the Donovan Group are enhanced videos. They've been able to help us in those moments of crisis when we need to get out quick communications. And so they've been very helpful in making sure that we're keeping all of our stakeholders informed of what's happening in the school division. We've also partnered with the Berkeley Group for strategic planning, and the Berkeley Group has also provided additional support to our administrators as we're always looking to continuously grow our leaders in the school division. We've implemented Frontline, and Frontline has helped us with recruit and hire. We now have a central place where we're keeping all employee files and employee records in a digital way. And we also have a professional growth piece of Frontline. And we've been able to purchase huddle cameras for sports. And in that process, we're still working towards getting Wi-Fi put out on the football field so we can make sure that our football games and our soccer games have access to those huddle cameras. And so, when preparing a budget, we always want to look at how have things changed in our town and in our school division over time. And so I provided several different data points to show some of that change. And so you can see here our enrollment. And so you can see for 23-24 at the bottom of the chart, our current enrollment is sitting at 809. But you will also see that the number of tuition students has decreased, but the number of students that are moving into town has increased. And so and that is one of the highest numbers that we've had in quite some time, with 687 students being town residents, and a lower number of 122 students being tuition students. And you also can see there the numbers of tuition students over the last few years and what that percentage has been. So you can see where we had a high in the 18-19 school year of 22%, where now we're sitting at 15.8% of our population are tuition students. You can also see here the historical data of our tuition costs. And so for this year, we did have a $200 increase, and so the current tuition cost is $3,200. And here you can see what our ADM has been over the last few years. And like I said before, our ADM for this past year was 784.77. But you can see how that ADM has changed over time. Next, it's always good to look at our free and reduced lunch statistics. And so you can see that currently our percentage of students in our schools that receive free and reduced lunch is at 38%. And that number in blue, when we remove our tuition students from that number, the number in blue is our number of students in town that qualify for free and reduced lunch. And so that number would be 44%. But the number that's reported to the state is the actual 38%, because that includes all of our students. And you can see how those numbers have changed since the 2017-18 school year. And here's a snapshot of our students with disabilities, our English language learners, and our gifted students. And so you can see in the 2017-18 school year, we had 80 students with disabilities in our school division. Here now, in 23-24, we're at 120 students that have students with disabilities. And so you can see that has been a tremendous increase. You also can see that we've been on the uptick this year of our English language learners. So those students that are coming here and need assistance with being able to learn the English language. And you can also see our gifted population and how our gifted population has changed as well. So with all of those changes, I think it's so important for us to celebrate the things that we've been able to accomplish here in our school division. So, with all of those things, we have maintained full accreditation of our schools. We began this school year fully staffed with instructional staff. And that is to be commended because we know there's a major teacher shortage across the nation. We also recently announced that our middle school team has been redesignated as a spiritual watch. And over the last school year, we've also had 173 industry certifications earned by our students. And so that means not only are we preparing our students to go to college, but we're also making sure that they have certifications in other areas as they're prepared to enter the workforce. And so when we start looking at our budget and we start looking at the process in which we collect information, we started with our principals and supervisors providing requests to the Superintendent's Advisory Council, which teachers and staff represent that council. They survey teachers and staff throughout the division, and they presented their requests to the school board in December. Since then, the school board has reviewed those requests, and there are 2 budget work sessions that they had in the month of January and February. And so when we go through that process, we're identifying our areas of need. And we're looking at compensation and benefits, we're looking at staffing, we're looking at instructional resources, technology, and facilities. And from there, we have to identify our funding priorities. And so, in order to remain competitive and to make sure that we can continue to stay fully staffed, in order to attract quality teachers, we always want to look at and keep as one of our priorities salaries for our staff. We also want to make sure that we're providing our staff with the best benefits. So we always want to be mindful of the cost of their insurance. And we're always looking at staffing. And looking at staffing, we have identified 2 key positions that we will need moving forward in the school division. And one of those positions would be a secondary special education teacher to support here in the middle school high school, and the other would be a division instructional coach. And that division instructional coach would be able to work with literacy, as we are about to roll out the Virginia Literacy Act. That person will also be able to help support and provide coaching support to teachers. And that person will be able to do some work with our ELL population, provide our teachers with supports and the resources that they need to support our students that come here and are learning the English language. And so as we look at teacher compensation, I felt that it was necessary to show folks how West Point fares in teacher salaries. So when we look here, the boxes in orange are the divisions that the salary ends up being more than the salary in West Point at that particular step. So when we look at step 0, a teacher straight out of college, zero years, the only school division in our area whose salary ends up being more than the salary of a starting teacher in West Point is in Regular County. And that's a school division that has 52,000 students. When we then look at step 15, the only county in our area whose salary is more than West Point would be York County. And when we then look at step 30, we see that there are 3 others that lead us out, being Gloucester, Williamsburg, James City County, and York. But I showed this to show folks that we have done a great job with teacher salaries, but in order to continue attracting new teachers, we have to continue to maintain, and we have to continue putting money into the pay for our staff. So what are we hearing from the state? What has the state put out? What are those projections from the state so far? And so for FY25, we are looking at an increase in our basic aid. So that would be $8,469 per student of state money. The current proposal that was provided by the governor does not provide additional compensation, a compensation supplement increase for staff for FY25. It does, however, include a 1% bonus that will be provided in July, and that would be for SOP positions only. We are seeing an increase in DPI funding, and we all know that we have seen great successes with our DPI and our preschool students in our DPI program. And we're also looking at being able to roll over the funds that we've received for the All in Virginia program, which is that tutoring and remediation program that we've discussed. And so the General Assembly ends on the session ends on March 9th. At this point, the House and the Senate both have provided drafts of budgets, and in both of those drafts do include at least a 3% increase for teachers and staff. So once the budget negotiators work their magic in Richmond, we will know how much additional monies we will receive that will go towards raises. But what you will see tonight does not include any of those funds. What you will see tonight includes where we are now and with the numbers we know as of today. So when we look at our enrollment here in West Point is 809. So we are proposing that we would increase our enrollment to build our budget from 782 to 787. And that is because we always want to look at an average of what the enrollment has been, and we want to budget safely. We know that if we budget a higher number and we don't meet that number, then we will not receive funds. We will not receive those funds from the state. So it's always better to select a lower number. When we look at our state revenue, we can see that what the increase will be from the state. So you can see those numbers, and that ends up being a $72,000 increase. So what are we proposing? We will be proposing a 3% increase for our teachers and staff. We will be proposing an increase the employee portion of the insurance, and that's coming in at $30,000. And we're proposing those 2 additional positions that I discussed previously. And so when we look at the increases from the state and and the projections from the state, we are looking at a gap of $328,784. So that is the number that we are looking at, and we would need to fund the things that we're looking to fund in our budget. So here you can see what that proposed revenue is that would come from the state, and what that proposed revenue is that would come from the locality. You can see where we are now. Currently for FY24, we're looking at $4.4 million from the town, and we will be asking for $4.7. That would be an increase again of $328,784, a 7.39%. You also can see what that increase is that comes from the state at a little less than 1% increase. And so so together that would increase our budget by 3.12%. And you can see that visual there. The pie chart, which might be a little easier to see on here. And then we look at expenditures. You can see what those expenditures are. We know that we always want to make sure that instruction is the largest piece of our budget. That area in West Point is always over 80%. And we know that a large piece of instruction, not only does it include instructional materials and supplies, but a large piece of that also includes instruction aids and the people that are instructing our students. And so that particular area does come in at a 3.19% increase. There's a 3% increase in administration, attendance, and health. 3% increase in pupil transportation. 3.2% increase in operations and maintenance, and a 1% increase in school food services. And you'll see that with debt service, that number is going down as that last major project we're working towards paying that one off. And so you will see that based on our proposed budget, we will be looking at a budget for West Point Public Schools at $13,258,757, which again is a 3.12% increase. And there is the pie chart breakdown. As always, we are appreciative to the work and to the partnership that we have with the town, and the partnership that the school board and school leadership administration have. And we're appreciative that you all help us remain pointed in the right direction, and that you help us rise. And we know that rise is that those relationships, innovation, being student-centered, and that excellence that we're all moving towards in our school division. So I'm happy to answer any questions that we might have.
I'd like to thank you, Dr. Frazier. Dr. Frazier and Mr. Edwards has a very good working relationship. And we've had a very good working relationship with the school board for as long as I've actually been on the council. I know there's a lot of challenges out there today, and I know people have talked about facilities in different ways. I've been talking about facility expansion since 2005, actually. We had the first real estate boom, and we were, I guess, lucky enough to where in 2007, construction stopped because of the economy. But since then, subdivisions that were approved then have been finished, and others have popped up. And it's not that we want to build more houses, but they're coming. And there has been a lot of discussions between the town and the school about expansion. I know you just recently did a new facility study. And those discussions will continue. They'll have to. And I guess the face of the school sort of changed what's coming here. We saw the numbers. And anybody's paying attention can see what action around town, what's going on. You know, a lot of people that the tuition used to send their kids in now are moving into town. And actually a lot of people who live in town have not just 1 or 2 kids, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. It's very large families, and I think Dr. Frazier and I have actually talked numerous times about classrooms and such, and discussions about that, about how we can move forward. But unfortunately, it's not a thing that happens overnight. It takes time, it takes planning, it takes financing. But we are all aware of what's going on, and we're all talking about it. And we have a great relationship on that, and look to keep West Point what it is, because the town is a formula. I always say this, that makes West Point West Point. The first thing is that thing that releases the steam when you come across the bridge. That's number one. Number two is their school system. We're very well known for their school system, and probably a victim of our own success, over the years. But also, the third thing is, of course, the people. And we have to make sure that all those stay intact. So we're willing to work, I know council's willing to work with the school system in any way we can to keep moving forward. And we appreciate all of your work and the excellence that you provide the youth of this town as far as their education. I'm a product of it. I have 2 kids that went through it, and it's unparalleled, really. And remind everyone we're one of 2 towns in the Commonwealth of Virginia that supports its own school system. So we're a very rare community. And I think it's what makes us what we are. So I appreciate all of your help and all your work, and look forward to continuing working with you to make sure we stay where we need to stay.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson, and I'm sorry, I did miss that note on my presentation, but I did also want to speak to that facility study, just to update the public as well as to where we are in that process. And so, several months ago, the folks from Crabtree and Associates, they came to the school board and they presented the school board with some plans and some initial drawings for expansion. And so since then, we have shared those drawings with our building principals. We have then been going back and forth with lots of drawings as to what the possibilities would be. And in those drawings, we're looking at classroom expansion. We're looking at our safety efforts to make sure that the fronts of our schools are safe for visitors and for guests and for our students. We're also looking at our athletic facilities. We are one of the few schools we don't have a wheelhouse. There are lots of things that we don't have. We've acknowledged that we don't have those things. But all of those things are in our facility study. And so we are working through that, but we know that those things take lots of time. They take lots of time because we want to make sure that even before we are ready to put those things out to the public, we want to make sure that we're comfortable with what we're showing. We want to then be able to get some work groups together to then show it, but we need to make sure that we have a solid product. But in all of that, Mr. Edwards has been a part of the conversations as we talk about funding. Him and I have had meetings to talk about the funding for that. And I've shared those updates with the school board. We've gone to the town education committee and we've spoken about those things. And so our expansion and the growth in this community is definitely at our forefront. And so we are working on that. And I'm sure sometime this spring we will be able to bring those folks from Crabtree back out to provide an update to the board as to where we are. And
thank you all for your commitment and for realizing that that is something that we need to focus on here at West Point.
Any other questions from council? If not, I believe we can adjourn. We're gonna have a closed session. Okay. Town council will adjourn, thank you. Right.
All right, we'll go into a closed session. Read history, motion to read.